Hello and welcome to another episode of Pull Yourself to Pieces. Bill and Ray here. I
God,
hope Ray's here.
another one. How do you talk me into this every week? I don't understand.
Well, unfortunately, there's not like a line of follow-up guests or,
Oh,
or partners or
oh,
co-hosts, you know.
nobody else wants this job, huh?
No, pretty much.
You
Right.
can't find anybody, huh?
You're it, buddy.
Not even have you asked some homeless people on the street? Say, hey, you want to be part of a podcast?
That probably won't go over either, yeah. It is what it is.
That's too bad. Well, I'm here. You better make the best. You better make the best of it.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do.
Oh, yeah, you're a busy man, huh?
Yeah, very busy man.
Okay.
So it's been pretty boring. It's been a boring week, Bill.
I'm
Has
sorry.
anything happened?
Well,
Anything interesting in the news happened lately?
no, nope, nothing
No,
at all has happened at all.
nothing at all. That
No.
being said, so
Good
so
night.
I was good night and see you. So I had a plastic bottle of bottled water in my hand that I get from the local grocery store.
Well, good you didn't have it in your feet.
No, and it comes in a 24 pack, and it's
What do you
water.
get, like the liter size?
16 ounce,
Yeah,
16.9
the liter.
ounces,
Yeah,
just
the
about
liter.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, and I'm drinking the water, and
It's always a good
I
way to
just
do it.
happened to read on the water bottle that they pledge to give me double your money back guarantee.
If what? If you can drink it all? If you
Well,
survive? What?
uh, and here's the thing. It's not seltzer water. It's not tonic water.
Right.
It's not flavored water. It's not water that they make by putting all the juice in a pitcher and you put water in it, juice water. No, it's just tap water. Okay,
Well,
they
it's
pull
not.
it out of a tap. Oh, sure they do,
No.
Bill. It doesn't come from no spring. It's coming from some guy's tap in New Jersey.
What?
Anyway,
No, it
yeah.
ain't.
Anyway,
Have
so
you
so
have you drank tap water lately?
yeah, actually mine isn't too bad. But
Oh,
but that's
really?
but that's besides the point. Yeah.
Well,
So
I could add something to that.
I have city water. Anyway,
Mm,
so they're gonna give me double my money back if I'm not happy, if I'm not satisfied,
right.
and it's a
Okay.
guaranteed. Now,
Right.
I really my expectations are really not that high. I need the water to be wet and basically trickle
I hate that dry
trickle
water. Damn.
trickle down my throat. Anything other than that, again, low expectations.
Yeah, powdered water
So
just doesn't work too good, does it?
yeah, because you have to add water to it. What's the point? I mean, you're back to where you started from, for crying out loud.
Powdered water.
Doesn't make any
We
sense.
should try and
Powdered water.
sell that. We could make money. That's a
No, 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 please, no more
powdered
schemes,
water. I'm
Bill.
telling you.
No more schemes, Bill.
There'll be people that would buy that. People will buy
Oh,
anything, okay?
this is true, but
All
just
right.
think about what you're saying. Anyway, so
Powdered water.
I mean, really, I mean, I don't really need double my money back if I'm not satisfied. Here's the thing. Why would I not be satisfied? It's bottled water. What would I find wrong with 16, 17 ounces of bottled water? What could possibly go wrong?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if the
Again, I
thought
just
is that the water's contaminated, then there's more concern than just getting your money back. Okay.
well, yeah. I mean, if it's going to take my life, forget the
Yeah.
money back. At that point, it's pointless.
Yeah. Even double.
Anyhow, yeah. So anyway, I just thought it was silly, and I just thought I'd comment on that.
I
So
think you're right, and I think we put a lot of trust in bottled water, but I don't believe it's coming from a tap. I want to believe it's coming from some kind of spring.
oh, I was
I just
making a joke.
recently, I've kind of gone away from drinking bottled water, just because I heard a while ago that someone said, "Did you ever test bottled water?" And like, no, and then so you can look up a lot of tests from known producers of bottled water come back in questionable results
Okay.
on how purified that water is supposed to be.
Okay.
Now, I at home have a zero water filter. It's a water filter that you buy, and you buy filters for it, and you pour water into it, and then it runs through this massive filter.
Okay.
It does such a good job of filtering out the water that it ends up becoming practically distilled water, which is really not safe to drink.
Yeah.
So what you're supposed to do is kind of add some alkalinity back into it. So
Oh, for crying out loud.
I
Two-step
know
process? I can't be bothered with this. I've got
it's a
stuff to do.
pain. I, well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it comes with this little meter for you to check the water,
Oh, for
and
crying out loud.
the meter is a 000, and you're good. If it goes past 006, you're
Uh-oh.
supposed to change the filter, and that could take
Oh.
a month, 2 months, 3 months before you're changing a filter on this thing. For the
Okay.
hell of it, I decided to take that water meter and it's like it's just a little thing that you just dip into wherever, and it has a little digital gauge on it, and gives you a reading.
Okay.
I did a water check on my refrigerator, which has a filter, not as good as the one that's in the zero thing,
Sure.
and
Right.
that thing came up at 80% or 80 microns, whatever the heck it is, which is considered reasonably high. Now,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
anything that's added into the water is going to make that number go up, even if it's things like fluoride or fluorine or
No,
chlorine or whatever.
bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did a test on the water off the sink, off the tap, and it was over 100.
Oops.
Yeah. And I've always been concerned about, okay, well, we're not really drinking the tap water, but who doesn't use that tap water for boiling? Who doesn't use that tap water for making ice, maybe? Or who doesn't use that tap water for,
Yeah. Right.
putting it in a pot and having tea? All right.
Yeah.
Does the boiling process really burn
I
off?
think it does. I think it does.
I
Well, think it does.
I didn't mean to go so long with this, but
Sure you did.
I just think that, if water tastes funny to you, then there's something
Don't drink it.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone
We'll go
out there
with that.
listening, if water tastes funny to you, don't drink it.
And
So
and one last thing, and when you and I put out our first powdered water product, please support us. Yeah.
support you, not me. Support
Why?
Bill.
Come on,
Not me,
Pet
because-
Rocks,
because-
Ray. Think about that. Remember that?
Because
Pet Rocks.
because when the lawsuits start coming in, I can
What
say, listen, I have
lawsuit?
nothing to do.
Pet
I have
Rocks work.
nothing to Yeah.
Chia Pets. We couldn't come up with powdered water.
So
What would it look like?
So this segment I'm calling "The Problem in Ukraine for Dummies." So we're going to attempt
that's going to reach a lot of people.
Yeah. And seeing how we're the dummies, we
Right.
should be really good at this. So this is going to be some facts and some opinions based on what Bill and I have discovered and what we have the information that we've tried to gather up until this point. So
Right.
all right. So to put it simply, to put it very simply, it's a land grab.
Huh. That's
It's a land grab.
yeah.
So
That's a good point.
imagine Russia is a giant bottle of wine, like a sangria bottle.
That's a very good
it's
way to
really
describe it.
really big,
Yeah.
and at the neck, there's a cork, and
Right.
that cork is Ukraine, and so that Ukraine basically keeps the NATO countries away from getting to Moscow. And so when in 91, when the USSR was broken up into a whole bunch of little countries,
Right.
excluding Russia stayed the same, but they lost quite a few of the states that had
Right.
become part of Russia.
Right.
And what happened was at that point, Russia lost the buffer that it had, or the land buffer it had between them and NATO. And NATO is a group of European countries that have an alliance between them to basically keep Moscow in check. Now,
Yes.
NATO has never officially declared war against Russia or Moscow. Moscow has never officially, declared war against NATO.
Right.
And over the 30 years that the USSR has been broken up, the last 20, Vladimir Putin has been in charge. And he's basically grown paranoid because he has seen the possibility for NATO expansion right at his front door.
True. True.
Now, so there's a few things happening here. Moscow, the thing about Russia is funnel shaped. It starts out very narrow
Right.
where Ukraine is, and then as it moves east, it becomes triangular shaped, and it becomes a very large, flat region that is very, very hard to defend.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the middle of all this is a certain river that flows basically southeast and is the main source for Russia to export its oil. Now, Russia basically depends on oil for its whole economy.
Oh yeah,
And
over the last 30 years, that's how they've made so much of their money because
basically
they've been. I think they send like 50% of that oil and natural gas.
Yes,
westward. Okay.
Russia's economy is the size of Spain. That's how small it is.
Yes.
I mean,
right.
it's a large landmass, but actually, and believe it or not, there aren't a lot of people who live in Russia. There aren't billions of people there.
Well, a lot of it's kind of too cold to inhabit. Siberia areas is really really
exactly.
cold,
So a lot of that land is just barren and unpopulated. All right, so let's get back. Let's get back to Ukraine.
Sure.
So, with the possibility of NATO asking Ukraine, hey, how'd you like to join our club? That would present a major problem for Putin because at that point, Ukraine would be really impeding into his land and bring NATO that much closer to his house. And that's something he didn't want. So,
but what's funny is I see the paranoia. You see that. But you got to also wonder that, like you said it too, NATO has never threatened Russia.
Correct.
Okay, it's the ideal of NATO that he's threatened by, that he's
scared.
Afraid of.
Right, he's afraid of that. So let's also look at the fact that Trump and Putin have been in bed together for years. I believe that Trump is a money launderer for Putin and has been laundering money. So when Trump became president, Putin saw his chance now to get a puppet in there and try to disband NATO, which is why Putin has been trying for the last 5 years.
And isn't that exactly what Trump tried to do? I
mean, he did.
You can look up he was trying
many times, right, for his friend.
One of his big things that Trump was doing was he was trying to say like, oh, we've been funding the big NATO bills. Now it's about
right. Yeah,
that happened.
Right. Which was BS anyway. Okay. Everybody puts in the same amount. Now,
I don't know about that, but there's not dues. Okay, it's not that kind of an alliance.
when Trump lost the 2020 election, Putin saw his last chance get vaporized. So hence he sees Biden come into office and he realizes Biden is not a pushover. So at that point he decides, you know what, I'm gonna make up some phony BS reason to attack Ukraine, and I'm sending my guys in, thinking 2-3 days. I mean, really, I'm going to de-Nazi the place. That's your excuse?
I know. But a lot of that makes sense. None of that makes sense.
Why didn't Putin just get on the world stage and say, "Look, I don't plan on waging war with any of you. I don't think any of you plan on doing it to me. I would like to annex Ukraine. I'd like to have it be part of Moscow. I will welcome them back in. They can keep their independence, but we'd like to be able to have that land buffer because I don't trust y'all." Had he said that and maybe asked permission, maybe we wouldn't
Who's
have.
he asking permission though? Is he
Well, he
asking
would have.
permission to NATO? That's not that
Well,
they don't have any
well,
right to be asked. Ukraine is not
well.
a part of NATO. It's not a part of the EU. Okay, so it
Right,
has no protection like that. If
right,
the only people he can ask is Ukraine, and Ukraine has been a divided country and way more divided since 2014 when he came in and annexed Crimea,
right,
which
right,
we can get into that discussion too about that. But continue on your line of
right. I think he went about it all wrong. What he wanted to do, just to acquire that land buffer, he went about it all wrong.
possibly true. That's
I mean,
possibly
he
true.
he should have said pretty please and then seen what the reaction would have been.
Right. Right.
He could have opened up a dialogue between the president of Ukraine and said, "Look, how about this? How about you stay independent, but we will offer you our military support as long as you don't, join up with NATO. We'll be friends. We won't bother you. You don't bother us. But we'd like you to be able to be that stopgap between us and Ukraine. Us and NATO. And this is the whole reason. This is the whole thing.
Well, I
Is
have
that
some other things I could,
all right?
throw
Let's
out
have it.
there. Okay.
Let's have it.
Let's kind of go into history here, like going back to where you said the USSR breaking up. Um, Putin brings this up that at the time, Gorbachev, right, who was in charge of the Soviet Union before it
Right.
pretty much fell apart,
Right.
was, according to him, was told in a speech from the Security General or whatever it was of NATO that there was going to be no longer any more expansion of NATO eastward. That is not the fact. I've actually gone back and read that speech, and it's two lines out of it that he is interpreting a certain way. And even Gorbachev, 5 years ago, in an interview, said that no, that was not the case. There was no promises made. And it's also mentioned that in 1997, right?
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
7 years later, there's a
Right.
conversation with whoever the president was at the time of Russia and
Right.
Bill
And there's
Clinton.
okay.
And Bill Clinton was asked, about I don't have the exact wording of it, what it was, but again,
Just
asked
give us the
that there wasn't
gist.
going to be any expansion of or maybe it had something to do with there wouldn't be any expansion of NATO into former Soviet Union countries. And Bill Clinton pretty much said, I don't have the exact
Okay.
words in front of me, but
He probably said,
I
"Okay,
can't.
that's
He
fine."
said, I can't speak for NATO. I can't speak for that.
Right.
And that's not what NATO's about. NATO doesn't draft countries in. Usually, what happens is a country will go to NATO and say, "Hey, we'd like to be a part of it."
Right.
You have to think
Yeah.
about the fact that after the Soviet Union collapses, to a slight extent, you have to go, well, is NATO necessary anymore? Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah,
There's
it
all
is.
kinds of debates online I see about that. And you know what?
Yeah.
Even if you just say, okay, the Soviet Union's broken apart, almost all the missiles went back to Russia. So Russia is still a
Right.
military
Right.
I don't
A,
want to
a,
use the
sup-
word threat.
a
A military
superpower to be
superpower. Sure.
a superpower to be wary of,
Sure.
because
As so is the United States in
right.
a way.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course it
I'll play
is. Of
both
course it
sides.
is. Of
Right.
course it is.
But even
And
if there was, somehow a destruction of all nuclear weapons from Russia,
right.
there are some other players over there. Okay, so
Sure.
keeping NATO to keep certain countries like China, like North Korea in check would still make sense. No,
Right.
you'd
Yeah.
still want to keep NATO around. And then how about this? Okay, in the course of when Soviet Union breaks up, to the point of when we had our last countries that joined NATO, there's something like 15 or maybe a little less than that, but somewhere close to 15 more countries joined. Okay, don't think a lot of them weren't joining because they were probably afraid of possible Russian aggression or China aggression
Sure.
or North Korea.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely believe that because you had several countries. What is it? Estonia, right? Lithuania,
Yeah.
3 of the Baltic ones, which were
Yes.
former Russian,
Right.
Soviet countries,
Right.
which
Right.
joined NATO. And just like you said, Putin seeing that, you know,
Yeah. He's
what's
starting to shake in
interesting is
his.
that
He's
Putin,
starting to.
Putin, when he
He's
got
starting
into
to.
office until about 2007, kind of didn't really have any really aggression going on around.
No.
But then again, why should he? What was? I mean,
The closest aggression was the Arabs and the Israelis, for crying out loud. There's been no
that's
war breaking out in Europe.
now what happens though in 2007. You have Kosovo, okay, and that then becomes like gets its independence. So I've read that people think that because of that, is that what led
The
him
catalyst that was
to
that the thing that
for
started to get
Georgia.
him.
He no, he goes into a year later. There is a resistance in part of Georgia who wants to become independent, right? And he's
Okay.
seeing NATO signs again now, right?
Uh oh. Yeah.
And right, so
Right.
he
The
goes in
paranoia.
there
The
and he
paranoia grows.
basically screws up everything for Georgia so that they can't become independent, and they are a landlocked country, and
Yeah.
they're left to their own.
Yeah.
And now you have that 2008, and then there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about really quick about Ukraine. Um, Ukraine is, as I said before, is a very divided country. Uh, Whether or not it's because propaganda gets through to Ukraine that's pro-Russian, that they don't get to see a different side of things, and then the other half that kind of is more Western leaning, right? So you have kind of this split in Ukraine, but it's not just about how the people are going to react to, like you said, the possibility of Russia coming in but if you said if they would ask them to join them again, that's
Right.
never going to be the
Yeah.
case because
Well.
look what happens. Okay, in 2014, you have the Euromaidan thing, which happens in Ukraine. It's a protest against the president at the time of Ukraine, who Ukraine felt, and a lot of the European world felt, was a Putin
Too much.
puppet.
Too much of a Putin puppet. Right. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So
And he
he's
probably
taken out.
was. Yeah. But he
He
probably was.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So he's taken out. And what does Putin do in revenge? Crimea, right? He annexes Crimea.
Right.
Now,
It's like playing Monopoly with this guy.
it's not
I mean,
impossible that a lot of people in Crimea could have wanted to go Russian, but to be part of Russia, but we don't really know what that influence could have been. Could have been propaganda that was being fed to them. They were an easier place to take. There's a number of reasons why he took Crimea. Okay, um, there's strategic reasons to take it because it butts up against the Black Sea.
yeah. Right. Right. Exactly.
Oh, here's another really, really huge reason that you don't hear about on why he might want to take Crimea. It's loaded with natural gas. I mean, loaded with natural gas. An insane level of natural gas. And it was discovered before he took over Crimea. But unfortunately, Ukraine did not have the financial or, I guess, technological capabilities to be able to do anything about it. So unfortunately, they couldn't. And then
Yeah.
he comes in and takes it over.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Guess what else gets discovered in the last several years about Ukraine? There were 2 huge spots in Ukraine, one on the eastern end, one on the western end, that have, is it really large deposits of oil? Yeah. Again, really, pretty
Okay.
significant areas of oil that, again, Ukraine is a lot more valuable than what Putin says his real reason is for,
Oh.
saying
Yeah.
demilitarizing,
Yeah.
denazizing.
Yeah. Right. Whatever.
Um,
Like,
uh,
poor excuses.
yeah.
very, very
And the
poor
fact that
excuse.
there's a pipeline running through Ukraine that goes from Russia to
Right.
European countries, passing
Yes.
tons and tons of natural gas and oil, that he
Yes.
pays a whatever it is, he
Yes.
pays them a
Yeah.
fee,
A right of way
millions of
fee. Yeah.
dollars, yeah,
Right.
per
Yeah.
year.
So he
So
figures if I take the country back, I don't have to pay them anything.
he's trying to spin it that it's all about NATO coming in, and it's
Well, of
all
course he
oh,
is.
another big thing that it's all about. Oh, it's not really its own country because Soviet Union or Russia started in Ukraine, so it's kind of like a
Oh,
Jerusalem
semantics.
there. There's a
Come on, we're talking semantics here now.
but there's a city there that's like the beginning of Russia, the beginning of Soviet Union. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like holy ground. So
Whatever. Okay.
he sees.
So to put
so-
this in simple terms for
Yeah.
our simple listeners, imagine if Canada was suddenly imagine if Mexico all of a sudden decided to declare war on Canada. Well, they would look at us and go, "Oh, we're taking the United States because we need that buffer between us and Canada. So
Right.
we're gonna
Wouldn't happen,
invade the
but that's a
United States.
good.
We're gonna invade the United States, and that's gonna be our buffer now. And they're gonna, that's what this is. It's a land grab.
Let's-
Plus all the other economic goodies that come with owning, this great little Ukraine state. So
What's
that's it in a nutshell.
horrible is, obviously, people of power have their agendas, and as usual, the average people get caught in the middle. I feel horrible for the people of Ukraine,
Right.
what's happening to
Let-
them. I feel horrible for the people of Russia because places like
so do I. We
there's a
both
lot of
do.
countries that are looking at Russia and going like, "Oh, horrible Russia," and that's not true.
No,
Putin
it's the
is one
regime.
man that has made these choices, and
Right. It's the regime. It's his army. It's his regime. It's not the Russian people that we take offense at.
sure.
And
And if you have a divide in Russia, that's like pro, let's take over Ukraine. The other half is not. I guarantee a lot of that pro Ukraine, if there
No.
is any of them, it ain't half.
No,
But
I have
they're
a feeling
controlled
that,
by the government controlled media. They're
Yeah,
being
but-
fed propaganda.
I think on the whole, I think the Russian people would be just as happy if Moscow left Ukraine alone, because let's say
Yes.
it's the same people. These people are fighting. I mean, it's like the war in the north, and it's like the Civil War. You had Americans fighting Americans. It's the same thing. You have
brothers. Right.
Russian people fighting other Russian people that just didn't want to be under Putin's thumb anymore and wanted their independence. And look, isn't that what everybody wants? To be free?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be free.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered this.
Yeah, I wish we didn't have so much division, because it's kind of sad to see in our own country some people who are in support of Putin and what he's done. And this should not be. How is that a political issue for us?
Well,
how is that possible?
Look, the people that support Putin, all right, they need a strong man. They need an oligarch to look up to because it makes them feel important.
But you mean like some farmer in the middle of Idaho? Okay, he's backing Putin, or is it just
because he probably backed Trump? Look,
Right.
Trump came on the world stage in 2015 and said, "Hey, why are we not friends with Russia? Putin's not a bad guy. You need to give him a chance." And all those
Now,
Trump fans
that could
and
have
all
been
those-
taken differently. That conversation could have been. Wait,
Yeah.
I'll just say in sort of. I don't want to say in Putin's defense, but in as far as for the country of Russia, that could have been taken differently if it was before 2007, because I've tried to look up any sort of Putin aggressions, and they don't start until 2007. After Kosovo, he goes after Georgia. Okay,
Right.
So up until that point, there's no aggressions. But for Trump to come out and say that after you've already had what happened in Georgia, there's
Right.
also Moldova. There was
Moldova.
there
Yeah.
still is,
Yes.
and then you have Crimea. Okay,
Sure.
and now this, but that wasn't then. That was 2015.
Trump-
but those
Trump-
things had already happened. Then Trump has absolutely
Trump-
no right to say that unless there's some other agenda
okay, that
Trump
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 has, or he's
Trump was he was merely cheerleading for his buddy, for the guy that he launders money for. Okay, and again, there's no proof of that, but that's my opinion. I mean,
well, I mean, up
look,
until
look,
just a few days ago, even after the wars broke out, the first thing Trump would said the man was a genius, and then he
yeah,
recourse to what he said
look,
because
look.
you know
There's a show on Netflix and it's called Ozark, and it's basically it's a guide on how to launder money. Okay, and if you watch this show, you will see the amazing comparisons between all the properties and different companies that Trump bought in the late 80s into the 90s and even into the 2000s. He pumped Russian money into these things to launder it. And that's what he did. He laundered money. And I'm sure once Trump's credit went down the toilet with American banks, he had nowhere else to go but turn to his buddy Putin. Trump's
Yeah.
own sons, Don Jr. and Eric, have both said how much financing they get from Russia and how much business they do with Russia. Okay, it's
Yeah.
documented. These
Yeah.
two clowns, what they said,
Right.
where Trump in the beginning said, "Oh, we have nothing to do with Russia. I don't even know Putin." That's what he said in the beginning.
Right.
And
Well-
it's because he can't keep his mouth shut. He lets the cat out of the bag, and he basically gives away.
Right.
He's the evil genius, except he's not a genius, who gives away the whole plan to the secret agent that's trying to infiltrate him, and that's basically what Trump did. So there's
But
no
you did
surprises.
say in there that you thought that there was a possibility that this could have been avoided, but I don't agree. There's too much at stake with Ukraine, and
Yeah, well, again, I think Putin went about it the wrong way. I think he tried to strong arm Ukraine.
he wanted demands. I don't remember all three of them. There were three demands, but they never would have been met by NATO. It was that NATO could never accept Ukraine into,
right?
and who? First of all,
Because-
NATO shouldn't be allowed to decide that, and Russia shouldn't be allowed to decide. That's Ukraine should be allowed to decide that.
Thank you.
And none
Okay.
of these countries that have become part of NATO are a direct threat or have ever threatened him.
Correct.
Look it up. Check it out.
Correct.
It's true.
Correct. But
Yep.
again, you don't just all of a sudden wage war on another country for no good reason. I don't care what Putin's reasons were; they were crappy reasons.
We just named a lot of reasons that he has, whether the
That's
ones
right.
that he's saying, or the ones that are on the surface, or the ones that are below the ground,
Yeah,
embedded in oil and gas.
yeah, absolutely.
And there you go.
All right.
Well,
I think we
need to talk about something more fun, huh?
What do you want to talk about?
I know. We'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk
I have
about
a
something
story.
else. Okay.
I have a story.
All
All
right.
right.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
All right. Bye.
This is Bill,
And this is Ray.
and you're listening to Pull Yourself to Pieces. Catch a brand new episode every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday? Wait, every week?
Well,
You expect me here every single week to do this?
are you serious?
I have things to do. I got library books. I gotta wash my car.
Are you serious? You can't be here just to record once a week?
All right.
Whew.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Pull Yourself to Pieces. I'm Ray, and
I'm
my
Bill.
other half over there is Bill, and there
Hello.
he is.
Hey.
So, after getting everybody down and depressed over our Ukraine talk, I'd like to tell a story, and
Okay.
I think it's pretty funny.
We could
this
use
is-
that right now.
This is we need some levity. This is an absolute true story. I love to pull pranks.
Oh, you
It's
scared
like
me
one
there.
of
I know
my
what you're gonna
it's
pull
one
from
of
there.
my favorite things to do, and I'm kind of a bit of a legend here in Central Virginia for some of the pranks I pulled.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah, this was a
This
good
is
one.
one of your
So,
top ones?
This is the top one. This is a good one. All right.
How
so,
long ago was this prank? You're going to give us...
This was probably around 2012.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the place is Farmville, Virginia, and there really is a Farmville besides the fake one on Facebook. There really is a Farmville.
Wait. The
and
fake one on fake.
yeah,
The
Farmville,
game
the
Farmville.
game. Yeah, well,
Right.
there actually really is a Farmville for those of you that didn't know.
Well, there's all kinds of s- towns and that cities that just sound kind of like. I mean, we
Yeah,
have a town here on Long Island called Hicksville. You know,
yeah,
and
and it's not filled with Hicks.
it's right. It's anything but Hicks.
Anything but
Exactly.
Hicks. Anyway,
Anyway.
but it was funny when I moved there to move in with my second wife. We moved to Farmville, and at that time, Farmville was very popular on Facebook, and I just thought it was funny. So
Is
it
Farmville
was
filled with a lot of farms? I gotta ask.
yeah, actually, it was.
Well, there's a surprise.
It was mostly farm area. When you get
Okay.
to the outskirts, it's all farms. But anyway,
Were you on a farm?
no,
No. Okay.
I was not on a farm. But anyway, it was time for me to renew my driver's license. So me and the ex, we go down to the DMV motor vehicle, and my ex had always wanted to, like she said, live under the radar. She kept to herself. She didn't like people talking about her, knowing her business. So she was very, very quiet.
Yeah,
And again,
I can relate.
like to live under the radar, as she
Well, you're
called it.
so
So
much like that.
no, I'm not. Anyway, so we walk in, and it was summer. So I had my dark glasses on. I drove, and I had my sunglasses on.
Sunglasses.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there in the peanut gallery waiting to be called to get your renewal. You go in and they take your picture and they give you your new license. The whole thing
Was it
takes
like the
maybe
ones in here where it's like a big room with a lot of like almost like
yeah.
benches, almost like
Well,
a
not a
church without
not
the
yeah, well, it was the size of a small church. You got to realize this is
Okay.
not the size of New York DMV, but considerably
Sure.
smaller.
Right.
So there was probably 2 dozen chairs and
That's
about
it.
10 to 12 people sitting there waiting in this area, and it was over to the right of the building inside where they'd call your name, you'd walk up, they would seat you in the chair, take your picture, and then
Right.
5 minutes later you've got a new
Right.
license.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm sitting there waiting to be called, and I realized that I still have my dark glasses on. And that's when I said to my ex, who was sitting right next to me, I said, I still have my dark glasses on. She goes, so? I said, do you think they would give a driver's license to somebody who was blind? And then she looked at me and she says, no, don't you dare. Don't you dare. People
Oh my
know me
gosh.
here. Don't you dare. And then it was at that moment I realized I absolutely had to. So she kind of shrunk down in her chair
Yeah.
so like nobody would see her. And I just sat there with my head down, waiting for my name to be called because I knew exactly what I was going to do. So after,
What did you do?
7, 8 minutes go by, they call
Right.
my name, Mr. So-and-so. I go, yep, I'm here. So I stand up and I go to take a step, and I intentionally crash into the back of the seat in front of me. And there's a woman sitting there, and I go, oh, sorry, I'm terribly sorry, terribly sorry. And I hear a couple of snickers from the people behind me. So some people thought it was funny. So now the gentleman who called my name is basically standing. I can just basically walk a straight line, and I will come to the desk. And at the other side of the desk is this gentleman. He's looking right at me, and I can see him, but I want to pretend I'm blind. So I slowly walk towards him. And as I do so, instead of walking straight at him, I walk to about 3 feet to the left of him. And at that point, I go to no one, dead air in front of me. I go, I'm so and so. Now I hear people laughing now in the back. So he sidesteps 3 feet to stand in front of me. And I'm thinking, or at that point, I'm thinking, oh, you've just upped the game, son. Okay, you want to play that way? All right. So he says, he's standing there and he's looking at me, and I can see him. And I'm saying, well, here I am. He says, well, let me help you. So he walks out from around the desk, which is
God.
something he never does. And he
God.
walks around and he takes his arm in my arm like you would lead a blind person to the chair. Now, by now, some people are realizing what's going on, and there are people just openly laughing because it's pretty funny. And I can hear my ex laughing because we're walking, and he walks me, and I'm just thinking, okay, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna play this as far as I can. And he takes me and he sits me in the chair, and I'm thinking,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
And he goes back behind the camera, and so he tells me to look up. I still have my glasses on. He never asked me to take them off.
Oh, really?
And now the place is roaring.
Oh my god.
The place is roaring.
He let you
People
take the
that
picture with your glasses on?
wait, hold on. And he's about to take the picture
Right.
when I abruptly stand up. I rip the glasses off and I go, "You are not going to give a driver's license to a blind guy, are you?" And he goes, "Hey man, I was just seeing how far you were going to take it."
I love that.
It was
great
and
story.
meanwhile, I mean, then he broke up. I broke up. Everybody
that's a
around
great
us started
response.
laughing. So I took my glasses off. I sat back down. He took my picture, and 5 minutes later, I had my I had
That
my
was
license.
fun. That was fun.
But yeah, I mean, most people in that predicament probably would have shown me the door.
Yeah,
but
he went with it and
he,
got a
he was
laugh,
hip.
and that
He was
good.
hip, and he
Yeah,
was
right.
savvy.
Right.
And the whole joke worked only because he played along. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as funny.
Right. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you're
that's
crazy.
one of my crazy stunts that I've pulled.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're gonna.
there's a lot of your things we used to do on Have You Ever Wanted To, and I know there's a lot of those crazy things we used to bring up that we did it
I
as a
would've-
comedy segment, but they
I
were,
would have done every single
you
one.
would have done right.
There's
Right.
not a single one I wouldn't have done.
I wouldn't mind revisiting some of those and talk about those and tell me in detail what you thought you would have done. We just did it for laughs,
absolutely.
but you would
Absolutely. And this is just one of many stories that I'm going to
One of many
recount
stories, yeah.
in coming episodes. All right. So
okay. Well, you
are
also
we
used to
gonna
write a column, right? We're going to bring those things in one of these days.
it's true. I was a columnist.
Right.
In 2008, a magazine started in Charlottesville, Virginia, where I was living at the time. It was called the Next 50, and it was geared toward the baby boomers.
Oh, okay.
And I got hired to write a column, and I was able to write whatever I wanted to. And it was
What'd you end up writing
color,
about? How many? I mean, like articles.
six. It was bi-monthly. It was full color, and I ended up writing 6 or 7 columns before the end of 2008 came, and that's when the bottom fell out. If you remember, everybody was in financial peril. 2008, the
recession,
the stock market tanked.
The recession. Yep.
And unfortunately, the editor was the publisher was finding it hard to get advertising at that point because nobody wanted to spend any money, and unfortunately, the magazine folded. But it was really well liked, and a lot of the baby boomers enjoyed it. And my column, it started to gain some traction.
Well, maybe we'll talk about those in the future. But anyway, right.
Anyway, so we're going to do Looney Laws of the Land because that's one of my favorite segments now.
We will do that, but we're going to take another short break, and we'll be right back with Ray's favorite segment. We don't do many segments these days, but we'll come back with Looney Laws of the Land, and we'll see what state it's going to be right after this.
All right. Okay. This is Arnold, and you're listening to Pull Yourself to Pieces.
Arnold, is it a tumor?
It's not a tumor. Hey, catch a brand new episode every Wednesday. Hasta la vista, baby.
It's time for Looney Laws of the Land.
Hello and welcome back to another segment of Looney Laws of the Land.
Yay! You can tell I'm excited.
It's where we go over some of the actual laws in actual states in this country. And this week's state is, drum roll.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
The laws are still in effect, though.
If they're
Yeah, you
not,
gotta-
I will say this is like an old law that they just
Okay,
they
but
just
these laws are
abolished, whatever.
still in effect.
Most
you
of
could
these,
still
most
get
of
in
these are
trouble,
going to
people.
be right,
Okay, all right. You
and
need to make that plain.
right. And this state for these loony laws this time is
Yeah?
the state of Arkansas.
Arkansas. Oh boy,
I
like
don't get that
Kansas.
name.
Like we didn't
Arkansas.
like we needed two Kansases. Hey, we got Kansas. Kansas.
We
All
got
right, so now we have-
cows.
yeah,
We got cows. What movie?
Arkansas.
All
This is
right.
our Kansas. Go ahead.
That's not yours. It's our
Arkansas.
Kansas. There's Kansas and our Kansas.
That's just like West Virginia. They couldn't come up with an original name. Just because they're west of Virginia, they just went, we'll just screw it. We'll just call ourselves
Virginia
West
number
Virginia.
2 didn't sound so
Virg-
good.
It didn't sound good.
Virginia number 2,
Virginia number 2. All right.
or the other Virginia.
The other Virginia, like the other white meat. Yeah.
The other Virginia sounds like a song. I was
Yeah.
dating one Virginia and then the other Virginia.
Found
right,
out.
anyway.
Now I have no Virginias. Okay, so
All right, so
Arkansas.
some crazy laws in Arkansas.
Okay, hit me.
Okay, this is a law. No
right.
one, not even you, Ray, may
even
suddenly
me?
stop or start their car at a Little Rock McDonald's.
You can't suddenly stop or start your car
How
at
do
a
you
Little
suddenly
Rock.
suddenly start your car? What does that mean?
You open the door very quickly, you jump in, the key's already in the ignition, and you turn it as fast as you can.
Is this at the drive-through only?
I don't know.
As you're pulling up, I can't believe this law. This is it's a law.
So there
Little
must
Rock-
be a lot
in
of
Little Rock,
rear.
Arkansas.
There must be a lot of rear end collisions if you're not allowed to stop abruptly. I'll slow down eventually, crash.
Oh, my
I didn't want to break
gosh.
the law. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Keep going.
and speaking of Little Rock, they're
Yes.
one of a kind.
Oh, I bet.
Flirtation between men and women,
Yes.
specifically just saying men and women, on the streets of Little Rock could
Yes.
result in up to a 30-day jail sentence, Ray.
Flirtation. Well, that's pretty vague.
Yeah.
Define flirtation.
And
for
is
me.
there like really police waiting around going like, he glanced at her? I don't know.
I heard a whistle. I heard a dog whistle.
Between men and women.
All right, you're going
Isn't
to
that
jail.
mutual?
I
You could go to
Flirt-
jail for this.
flirtation. Wow. It explains why there's so many single people there. Nobody wants to go to jail.
Oh.
Keep
in
going.
Fayetteville,
Yeah.
it is illegal to kill any living creature. So you step on an ant, you're
Step on
going
an ant,
to jail.
break your
bud.
mother's back. No, that's step on a crack. You're going to jail, sucker. Hey, don't step on that cockroach.
Even things that we don't want, mosquitoes. What are they good for?
Oh man,
Don't kill them. Nope.
Don't kill him. All right.
It is illegal to yell at your children at a drive-in in Arkansas restaurant. Oh, no, sorry. It's illegal to yell at your children at a drive-in Arkansas restaurant. A
At a
drive-in?
drive-in Arkansas
What?
restaurant.
Oh, so if you're in the car and the kid is
Yeah.
screaming back there, I want fries, and you yell at him, you get in trouble. You ain't
get
getting
in
any
trouble.
meal. You're getting your last meal. You're getting 3 meals in the-
Wow, that must be an old law because I have.
Oh.
We have actually one drive-in restaurant here in Virginia, and it's a burger place where you basically drive up, and a waitress actually comes out to your car and takes your order and brings the food to your car.
Yeah.
We actually
Okay.
have that here.
Yeah,
That-
we have a place like that here. I think that's Sonic or something does that.
Yes, you have Sonics there.
Yeah,
by
we
you?
have Sonic now. Yeah.
No way. Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
we have
them here
Sonics,
too.
and I've seen the girls on roller skates. I really hate to say that, the girls on roller skates.
Why?
Because that's so sexist.
Would you
know?
rather see men on roller skates?
Well, if
Is that any better?
well, what, a guy can't get a job if he's a good roller skater? Let him be. I
Hey,
mean, if they
hey.
only just hire women, I'm sorry. You know what? You just gave me
What?
an idea. I'm going to go apply to Hooters. Why? It's
You're gonna
like
have to work
reverse
those
sex-
pecs. You're gonna have to work those pecs a little harder, Bill.
Okay, but
You're gonna have to hit that chest machine.
I'm offended. Why shouldn't I be able to go work at Hooters as a waiter?
You go right ahead, Bill. You go right ahead.
Oh boy.
So no drive-ins and no, can't go to the drive-in. Yell at your
Let's
kids.
move
All
along.
right, let's move.
It
along.
is illegal in Arkansas to honk your horn at a sandwich stop after 9 p.m. I lost you. That did it for you, huh?
After 9
Only
p.m.
the sandwich. Get a sandwich shop after 9. I mean,
After
that's kind of
9.
late to be in a sandwich.
First of all, I'm sure all the stores close at 8. So that one store that's open at 9, he's doing a hell of a business. And God forbid you honk your horn at him because I don't know why.
Yeah, there's probably such a wait at 9 o'clock at night for a sandwich.
You scare the people that are waiting online outside. Is that it? They all jump when you honk the horn. I mean, there's no logic to this whatsoever.
Oh.
Keep going.
There's a law in Arkansas that says teachers can't receive a raise if they bob their hair. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, that means there'll be no lesbians teaching, so I'm sure that's what they wanted.
Okay. This is ridiculous.
All
How
right,
do you
so
control this?
Wait a minute. Everything previous hasn't been? Are you kidding me?
But this doesn't, how did you it's illegal for the Arkansas River to rise above the Main Street Bridge. How do you control this? They go down here. All right, we're going to arrest the river.
What do you use for
the
handcuffs?
river?
Take me to the river.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow is right. Oh,
and
we
got
more.
Didn't we have a president come from there?
Oh my God.
I did not raise that river. All right, go ahead, keep going.
Little Rock. Back to Little Rock. It is illegal for your dog to bark after 6 p.m. So,
well, that's a good law.
That dog is going to go to jail.
Who do they arrest?
Who's in jail? You or the dog?
Or the owner?
Right.
You know what? You should send them both. That's all.
Oh, this is sad. In some Arkansas counties, you cannot buy alcohol at all.
Oh, dry state. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, and I hear that the AA meetings are very, very poorly staffed.
Now that's counties. Apparently, you cannot purchase alcohol in all of Arkansas on Christmas Day. How you like that? So no wine,
no alcohol.
Well, you don't have it in the house already. You can't purchase any, but you're going to do a toast for Christmas Day. You better already have it. Never run out.
You went the day before. So
You-
basically, the day before, the shelves are empty.
All right.
You're not finding any alcohol the day before.
Back to Little Rock, our favorite town.
Okay.
You are not allowed to walk your cow, Ray, down Main Street after 1 p.m. on Sundays only.
And that's the day Bessie likes to take the walk.
That's right.
That's just not fair.
If you
What do I
must
tell
walk,
her?
if there's a second part to that, if you must walk your cow down a public highway,
Yes.
he may not, you may not blindfold it first. What?
Especially when you walk past the slaughterhouse. That's something they don't want to see.
Right.
So you just put you go, come here, Bessie. I'm going to put the blindfold on you because we're coming up to the slaughterhouse. And it goes,
my God. All right.
Oh, I can't walk my cow. Damn.
In Arkansas, it is illegal to have alligators live in your bathtub. All right. That's a big problem, Ray.
Is the problem for the alligator or the homeowner? I mean, who
How
suffers
big is this
here?
alligator? How big is this
really.
bathtub? And why?
And why? Oh, good God.
Wow.
I didn't know alligators made it that far west.
Well, this is a good law.
Oh, yeah?
In Arkansas, no smoking in cars with small children. Okay. All right.
Wait, the small children aren't allowed to smoke in cars? How about the adults? Hey, Bobby, put that cigarette out. You know your
All
mother's
right,
allergic. All right, Dad. Hey, can I smoke that joint that you and Mom are sharing?
And I got
What
one
else you
more.
got?
One
Oh,
more
that's
for you.
all?
Well, we had a lot. That was like 15
Well, keep
or
coming.
20
Don't
of them. I
stop
know
now.
what-
You're on a
That's all
roll.
I got. I got one more left. I'm sorry.
All right.
This is
All
it.
right.
All right. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ray. I know you might be a
All
big fan, but when
Uh-oh.
playing a pinball machine,
Uh-oh.
you may not win more than 25 free games as a reward. All right. There's the
Killjoy.
game.
What
What
a
is that called?
buzzkill.
The arcade police are watching you. They got cameras. It's like, oh, get that guy. He went to
Get that
26
guy.
games.
26 games.
We ain't just throwing him out. We're arresting him.
Good God almighty.
No more
What is the
pinball for
point?
you. Wow.
Oh.
Really? What a waste of
Um,
time some of these
What
laws.
a waste of time. You're right.
Oh my gosh.
And just think, people actually had to vote on this, and they voted, yeah, that sounds like a good law.
That's not right to do the accent. But I mean,
sorry.
it's
Sorry. I've lived here for 30 years. I've got it down pretty good.
all right. Well,
Is that it for
let's
our
be
show, Bill?
when we go to Arkansas, we better remember
Yeah.
those. We better look
Yeah.
up anytime we visit one of these states. We better look up these things because we're stupid enough to do some of those.
Exactly. Like
I'm gonna
I
go
won't,
Arkansas. I'm gonna go find a cow and I'm gonna start walking them on a Sunday.
yeah, and
Whoops.
yep, and honk your horn at that sandwich shop.
Right. As I
Oh,
put my
my
alligator
goodness.
to bed.
Oh man.
Whew.
Well,
All right. Well, this has been a good show.
I think
think.
so.
I don't know.
Hopefully somebody's still listening out there.
Well, we keep going less and less on how many listeners we get and how many downloads we get. So at the rate we're going, we're probably about 2 or 3 shows away from 0 listeners. So it'll just be you and me. So if
All right.
if I entertain it, if I entertained myself or you,
Yeah.
and vice versa, then we
Yeah.
did all right.
we did all right.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
well,
Hey, everybody out there. I mean, Ray.
yes.
Till next week.
Till
When
next
we
week.
meet
Hey,
again, and we'll dispense whatever information we want out to the world that no one's listening to, and
Yes.
as long as we can hear each other, we know we're
Yeah.
still doing it.
Yes. And,
Right.
And
So
be
keep
good
our
to each
headphones
other.
on, but
And-
we won't know.
And be good to each other.
Yeah, right. Make peace, not war.
There you go.
I couldn't even get that out. Whew. See ya.
Bye.
Please check out our website, pullyourselftopieces.com.
That's right.
And you can subscribe to the show in Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube, or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode.
And if you enjoy our show, don't forget to give us a high rating.
And remember to tell your friends about the show.
Thanks for listening to our show, and thank you to freesounds.org and Gottlieb, Audio Mirage, Plasterbrain, Cognito Perceptu, FK Prod, Mirage Hazer, Shadow Wisp, D-Boss, Viku Seru, Intra Environmental Sound Project, Julian Nicholas, Carmelo Mike, G Kill Hour, 140178 Sound, CMU Sound Design, Alan Mchi, Der Super Anton, Eric H2000, Bulbastray, FK Phantom, Ultra Dust, Ada Records, Stuart Colborn, Debroid, Cubidup, GJ, Syntax Seed, Inspector J, Astounded, Madge 061785, Just Invoke, Short Record, Lorenzo Sue, and I'm Mackenzie. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0/legal code.